Let's get this as big as we can get it. I'm in the black area there. Perfect. Happy Saturday, peoples. It's so funny how I was doing my PvP stream yesterday, which took 3 hours to get started because of awesome life event plus doing professions, and dinner. But I was like, I wonder if there's any new Platinum WoW videos I can watch while I'm having dinner. And I looked and I was like, okay. And I watched an Asmin Gold video. And now there's a new video from Platinum WoW. Yeah. This guy is so fun to watch. Honestly, wish I could make videos with the level of quality he does. It's such an exercise in patience to have this skill in editing. And furthermore, he must be so good at just like having an idea and being able to capture that concept, whether he's writing it down or something like that, or if he's, how do I put it? Like just committing it to memory and able to bring it to life this way. Oh, it just always comes together so well. That's why I like doing these reactions to his content, because it's almost just like, it's my appreciation to you, buddy, because this is quality content, and I feel like me just writing a comment is just throwing my words into the void, whereas I just want you to see what kind of happiness you bring me and likely everyone who watches your videos. Let's check it out.
Alliance and built a giant wall to lock off previously on Gilnean history. King Greymane left the Alliance and built a giant wall to lock off his kingdom away from the outside world. When the Scourge invaded and attacked the lands of his people that were outside of the wall, he helped by unleashing the Worgen, who killed all the undead and then his own people. A civil war exploded within Gilneas, and now the Worgen curse has breached the city and his own people's sanity. Before we discover the fate of Greymane and his city that hangs in the balance, here's a very quick word from today's sponsor.
This will be good.
Are you balding? Thankfully, the sponsor of today's video has got your back, or the top of your head. Today's sponsor is Keeps.
I knew he was doing
a solution for fighting back male pattern baldness in the easiest way possible.
Look at the top of his head!
It doesn't matter how lazy you are, Keeps offers you the easiest access to hair loss treatment delivered to your front door, plus online doctor consultation to make sure you can keep those luscious...
This is fantastic, but there's a part of me that wishes he got, like, a gnome and just started cycling through, like, bald gnome, different face, and then, like, a Warcraft hairstyle. Anyway.
Locks till the end of time. Keeps is all about prevention, so the sooner you start using the product, the more hair you can save. So the point is, the faster you act, the better. When you use Keeps, you'll find out why it has more 5-star reviews than any other product, and why thousands of men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/platinum, or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/platinum.
This is gonna be my thumbnail for watching your video, because it's great.
I want the perimeter secured and the gates manned by 2 guards at all times. No one gets in, no one gets out. We protected Gilneas from the Scourge. We protected Gilneas during the Northgate Rebellion. We will protect Gilneas from whatever this new...
If you stand AFK in the Worgen starting zone, you will hear these voice lines a bajillion times in 20 minutes. It's actually nauseating.
...threat may be.
When the Worgen wave first consumed the city, the original plan was to just quarantine the sections of the city and keep the Worgen contained. Oi, you! You got a license for being outside! It didn't work. Gilneas was still in a weakened state from the Civil War, so their defenses were rather insignificant. The plan quickly changed. No longer was this a quarantine. This was an evacuation. And if Greymane wanted his people to escape, he needed all the help he could get. And that meant recruiting an old ally. Crowley, the Worgen, they've breached the city. Look, I know we have not been on the best of terms, me throwing you in jail and all, but we have been allies in the past, friends even. Just look, I'm here to say sorry, and please help us. Oh my goodness.
You know, Gen, during the Civil War, I was labeled as a monster, a terrorist, even, all for trying to defend my people from your tyranny. What I do today is not for you. It is to restore the people's faith in the Crowley name.
Hey, wait up.
I have cannons stashed away in the military district. We'll hold up in the cathedral, grab their attention, and the rest of our people can flee.
Wait, you have cannons in my city? And so, Darius was released from prison to fight for Gilneas once more, and he and the player character got into fistfights with feral wolfmen on top of the prison, recovered the smuggled cannons that were originally supposed to be used for the Civil War, and traveled to the cathedral to blast away as many Worgens as they could. Unfortunately, Darius and his men were later overrun by the Worgen, and their status is unknown.
Chapter 2. Combating the Curse.
But Darius Crowley's sacrifice was not in vain. The citizens that fled the sacked capital with their king found solace in a nearby coastal town called Duskhaven. Here, they would get their bearings and organize their next steps in controlling this curse. During their time in Duskhaven, a breakthrough was discovered. Krenin, master alchemist, brewed an incredible serum to combat the Worgen curse. The potion did not revert the curse, but it merely restrained their bloodthirsty tendencies. In theory, cursed citizens would still retain their shreds of humanity if they drank the serum. But this was quite the controversial decision to make. People like Lord Vincent Godfrey had nothing but hatred for the Worgen. Fighting alongside the very creatures that destroyed their city was not a gamble he was willing to take. But the fact of the matter was, they didn't really have much of an option. A sizable portion of their population was already marked with the curse. Wounds inflicted by the Worgen slowly morphed over time. The skin around the bite marks would turn a sickly black and blue, and by the end, tufts of thick hair would be growing around the edge.
I don't feel so good.
By the king, another one's turning. Get the restraints.
Leaving them out in the rain.
Just take the potion, just put it in your... Come on.
Give it up, Krenin. It's time to put this one down. It's protocol.
Tell me, Godfrey, when Crowley and his men stayed in the city so that we could live, were they following protocol? I didn't think so. Hand me that potion, Krenin, and double the dosage. Open wide, you furry bastard.
Please, don't hurt me.
Although the serum was not a perfect solution to the curse, it worked for now, but somehow, some way, things got worse for the Gilnean people.
The Horde. Oh.
Once again, undead monstrosities organized another assault, but this time, it was different. These undead fought under the Horde banner, and when they caught word that Gilneas was crippled by the Worgen, they decided to strike.
For the Forsaken!
The irony of the situation was, a lot of the Forsaken that were attacking were originally citizens of Lordaeron. You know, the city Gen refused to help and hid behind his wall when the Scourge originally invaded. The Forsaken war machine invaded the Gilnean lands from the coast, and they were met with meddling defense. But what came next was a blessing, but a curse. A truly random and extremely unlucky event for both sides. This Forsaken invasion was done during the Cataclysm, so far off in a whole different part of Azeroth there was a giant dragon that set off a bunch of natural disasters all over the world. Point is, the southwest part of Gilneas was collapsing into the ocean, leaving both sides to suffer a tragic, murky death.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
But that was the least of their problems. The Cataclysm also busted the Greymane Wall wide open, letting the Forsaken pour into Gilneas, and they quickly took the city. What the frick? Godfrey, how can we be this unlucky? Round up the refugees. We need to move. So once again, the refugees and their king found themselves looking for a place of solace once again. They hastily packed their things and retreated to another town called Stormglen, where they could lay low to plan their next steps.
Since the change, I find I prefer my meat rare now. Raw, even. Perhaps struggling. Bit of a blunder there.
Nearby Stormglen, there was a dark forest called the Blackwall. If you remember from part 1, this was the location where Greymane was first bit by a Worgen, and now it's the place where the Night Elves reside, who came to help the humans with the curse. Some of the first Worgen to be helped were actually Darius Crowley and his followers, who now walked as Worgen. After their sacrifice in the city, it seemed they somehow managed to escape, and you can tell it's Darius because of the eye patch. Point is, the Night Elves came to help because of their complicated history with the Worgen. The curse was originally an ancient druid form that embodied the great spirit Goldrin. The druids that shifted into this form became blood-crazed and began hunting friend and foe. These druids attempted to control the curse, but instead fell into madness and became the first ever Worgen. Archdruid Malfurion took it upon himself to banish these crazed druids into the Emerald Dream. Thousands of years later, the Worgen were summoned back to Azeroth in order to hunt once again.
The Worgen curse affects some worse than others. Goldrin's rage is not easily subdued. I have spent much time and effort in search of a way to cure it. Let us begin. But be warned, the spirits that accompany Goldrin may not take kindly to our intrusion.
The Ritual of Balance was a way to control the curse, and it must be overseen by the Worgen's pack. During the ritual, one must drink from 3 moon wells. The Well of Tranquility was to rekindle peace. The Well of Balance was to strike harmony between the human and Worgen spirit. And lastly, the Well of Fury was to build one's strength. Finally, one must suffer through intense visions of their past, forced to confront their doubt and fears, anchors that weigh them down. If unsuccessful, they will be driven to madness.
How does a Tauren hide in a chariot?
He paints his hooves red. Huzzah!
With the ritual successful, the Gilneans could freely shift from worgen to human forms, but they will forever live with the lasting effects of the curse.
Crowley, you and your elven allies are hereby ordered to serve along the king's army. Cursed or not, you are still bound by Gilnean law.
Does this toad speak for you, Gin? Do you come dwelling as a friend, or do you come as a tyrant?
No, old friend. I come to you as an equal.
Impossible!
Aye, Gin. It is not law that binds us. It is something far stronger. We can both relate to that awkward feeling when, like, you're at a fancy party and you accidentally spill wine on your coat and you get angry and you turn to a worgen and everyone's, like, kind of shocked and it's really awkward. And then you, like, turn back into a human, but now your clothes are ripped and it's like, okay, well, I'm at a fancy party. Like, what the hell do I do now? Yeah, no, that sucks, man. I feel ya. Yeah. Yep. It is decided then. We will unite all Gilneans and drive the Forsaken from our lands.
And, could you get me some spare clothes or something before we leave? Oh, hello, Godfrey. Sorry for the wait. Just needed to get my suit tailored. You know, just working things. So, let's go save our... Whoa! Hey, you can't just point the gun at... Ah! Someone, help! Godfrey's kidnapped the king! Godfrey was a lord who had nothing but hatred for the worgen, so when he found out his own king was one of these wretched monsters, he decided to take matters into his own hands. The plan was to hold Greymane captive and use him to negotiate with the Forsaken and say...
I had myself on mute like a goof. I was just commenting on the fact that he was like, oh, that face when you're a worgen and you have to pack a second set of clothes.
Save Gilneas, which was a incredibly dumb plan because, what are they going to do with Greymane? The Forsaken aren't here just to kill the king, they're here for the land and to turn everybody into undead. At this point in time, Greymane isn't a part of the Alliance, so the Forsaken couldn't use him for leverage to get anything else. If anything, Godfrey would just hand Greymane over to the undead, they'd say thanks, they'd kill Greymane, and then they'd kill everybody else. Godfrey is just making it easier for the Forsaken to win at this point. The funny thing is when the player character frees Greymane and Godfrey's caught, Blizzard put as much effort into his death as Godfrey did his plan. So not a lot.
No, I'd sooner die than have one of your kind for a king!
Oh, God. I remember that cracking me up when I first saw it.
On the eastern side of the city, the survivors rallied together. The curse that once wreaked chaos among Gilneas was now embraced and used as a weapon against the Forsaken. No longer would they hide away on the edges of their lands. It was time to retake what was theirs. Gen's son, Liam Greymane, led the charge.
Oh, is this the cliffhanger?
The
Okay, we're still good.
think we're weak. A broken people. They think we'll roll over like a scared dog.
We are
How wrong
dogs.
they are! We will fight them in the fields until the last trench collapses and the last cannon is silenced. We will fight them on the streets until the last shot is fired. And when there is no more ammunition, We'll crush their skulls with the stones that pave our city. We will fight them in the alleys until our knuckles are skinned and bloody and our rapiers lay on the ground shattered. And if we find ourselves surrounded and disarmed, wounded and without hope, we will lift our heads in defiance and spit in their faces. But we will never surrender!
Sylvanas!
Enough! Such a waste! That arrow's poison was not meant to be spent on your whelp! We will meet again!
We did it, Father. We took back our city. We took back...
My lord, Horde reinforcements are coming quickly. We need to retreat.
Dang. Nice
May
edit,
the
man.
light
You're tugging at my heartstrings
of
a
our
bit.
ancestors, for they have chosen to allow my son to rest upon this holy ground. It is here, surrounded by the heroes and patriots of Gilneas, where he belongs. We'll return, Liam. I swear this to you.
My lord, we must... Oh, by the light. Oh, put some clothes on. What? I'm a worgen for light's sake. I have a perfectly valid excuse. Fine, just please. We need to leave with the Night Elves before the Forsaken catch on to us.
And so, Greymane and the Gilnean refugees lost the battle, and were forced to flee their homelands, which were now scarred with blight. Greymane had lost a great deal. His friends, his kingdom, his own son, and most of his wardrobe.
Well done,
But
man.
this was not the end of Gilneas, but merely another chapter. The Night Elves had shown them a bright light. Perhaps having a thriving kingdom on Azeroth does not mean forcing extreme isolation. Perhaps it is through an alliance with others the Gilneans may one day retake their homelands. It does not matter what hardships the Gilneans face in the future. They are a resilient people who have learned to adapt to their environment. The Gilneans have suffered greatly, but against all odds, Gilneas will prevail.
Done and done, my dude. Another smash hit. I love how much Platinum WoW elevates my investment in this game emotionally, because wow, that makes it so much more cool. Like, obviously this is all written into the lore. It's not presented in a way that compels you to just be like, Whoa, cool. And he does that for them at no charge. Good on you, man. Okay, honestly, I'm just gonna